And this is something in dating that I teach how to initiate conversation. So it's called piggyback. So we are hanging out. So where's an example of where would we be hanging out where I could start a conversation with someone?
A rando?
Yeah, just throw me a situation.
I mean, Starbucks is like a good one.
Perfect.
Usually business type people, sort of.
Yep.
You assume they have some sort of job if they're at Starbucks.
Well, and the thing with Starbucks that bothers me is that everybody is in their sonder. So everybody's in their bubble. Everyone's just doing their thing and they're on their laptop and no one's being interactive. So
Okay. So something different?
I want something where you're in a crowd. I want something where there's a lot of people and a lot of opportunity. It's hard to sit at Starbucks. I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. I don't really want to bother you because you might be working or on a call. So I'm glad we addressed that. So if I'm in the grocery store.
Okay.
And
let's do grocery store. Actually, that's a good one because I just gave that advice to a client of mine. She's like, I don't ever go anywhere. And I said, the grocery store? I'm like, you're telling me you've never seen an attractive man at the grocery store before? So let's do that.
Completely. I have been in a grocery store, and this as well as married, so I'm not pursuing anything, but I'm saying if I were single, I'm in a grocery store, and this has happened to me. I'm doing my grocery shopping, which is very rare because I don't like grocery shopping. My husband does all the shopping now, thank goodness. But I'm going down the aisles and I'm looking at stuff. I had a guy next to me and there was something at the top shelf and I was like, oh my gosh, short girl problems. Can you grab that for me? And he grabbed it for me. So I'm doing a little flirty flirt, right? And I really wasn't because I was married. I was serious. But this is a good single woman's tactic. Can you grab that for me? It's on the top shelf. Sure, no problem. And then we're walking around and I'm shopping some more and I pass him again and I say something humorous like, just because you're tall doesn't mean I need you to now babysit me and see if I need something from every shelf. Like just the humor. Or I see him again and I'll be like, I didn't know we were, if I'm single, I'd say, I didn't know we were going on a date to the grocery store today. You throw something out that's situationally happening in a bar. If you want to go to a bar, if you prefer bars or even like a Dave and Buster's or something, what's going on? There's something on the TV. Just say, oh, I cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys. I love football, but I can't stand them. Boom, you're opening up a conversation. He says, oh, that's just wrong. Everybody loves the Cowboys. That's America's team. And then you say, oh, well, maybe old school, was the old team, but, I'm a so-and-so fan. It's piggyback off of your situation and have some humor, have some fun with it, but be confident in who you are because confidence is sexy. Confidence is attractive. Everyone loves it. I love a confident man. Women love confident men. Men love confident women. Women that walk into a room and they love themselves, right?
Yeah.
They're so comfortable in their skin. Determined to be that woman. Just be comfortable with who you are and accepting yourself first eliminates you going out on dates looking for someone else's approval and validation.
When you start coaching somebody, let's say for dating, do you do you insist on them working on themselves before doing anything regarding dating? How do you approach that?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. You cannot be damaged and go out and look for a healthy relationship, right? Yeah. If you don't value yourself, you can't find someone that's going to value you. So yes. So if they come to me and they're just getting out of a relationship, I have a rule. No dating for a year. No dating for a year because I want you to take a soul journey by yourself, like yourself. I didn't know how to be comfortable being by myself. Obviously, that coffee shop, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So being comfortable being with yourself and enjoying your own company is first. Second, we got to dig down to what happened in this relationship that you were in that didn't work. Or if you're single, what's going on about my belief system that's preventing me from attracting the thing that I want? And why don't I think I deserve it? That's a big thing. Body dysmorphia is a big thing. If you don't physically accept yourself, you certainly can't mentally accept yourself. So we got to work on your self-image. How do I feel about how I look? And I'll make people stand with no clothes on in front of a mirror every day and tell themselves something good about their body if they have body dysmorphia.
I love that. That's actually a really good idea. A really good idea. So why do you consider your dog your relationship coach? Let's talk about your book.
I love you. So when I dated, so I've been divorced twice, and I was dating, and then the next two long-term relationships were dysfunctional. They were just terrible. And I finally had to like look at myself and go, damn, Maureen, there's a million dysfunctional relationships or dysfunctional men out there. The only common denomination is you. You're doing something that keeps attracting these types of relationships. And so I determined to do what I just told everybody: don't date for a year. Sit back and really evaluate yourself. Journal. Why do you feel this way? What happened? What do you identify that you're repeating? A cycle. And I'm sitting there it was about 2 years. And my dogs were with me. And there were nights I'm just sitting there eating my Ben and Jerry's and crying. I'm so worthless. Nobody loves me. I'm home on a Saturday night watching Ghost Adventures. So they were my wake-up call. It was, I don't know, something clicked, and I looked at them and I thought, they don't stress about anything. They don't care about the small things. Don't sweat the small things. It's all small things. And in their eyes, it was all small things. And as I watched and just sort of integrated their unconditional love for me, for each other, for themselves, their joy in just, I'm going to take a nap when I want. I'm going to chase a ball when I want. I'm going to lick my butt when I want. And it was like this integration of, I want to be that. I want to love myself like my dog loves themselves. And I just started writing down chapters. I just started writing down, hey, Brody did this today, or Jade, my Chihuahua, Brody has this little sore on his nose. It's been there forever and it's fine. We've had it tested to the vet, but it's just this little open sore. And Jade will go up to him every single day while he's laying there and lick his nose. And he'll let her lick his nose, and then he'll like, okay, I'm done now. But she makes sure she takes care of him, and he lets her know, I'll let you take care of me. But then when I'm done, I need you to go away. And so those were the examples of how I started writing the book.
Wow.
And then using all of, my experiences and friends that were going through it. My best friend at the time had been single for many, many years. She wanted a relationship and she just wasn't confident. And then I learned about all the new things. So I have to do this with you. And I didn't know any of this. And you probably don't either, because now that we're in relationships, this is all new stuff. So in this new age of electronic meetups, here are some interesting terms that have been designated about the status of a dating relationship according to some online sites.
Okay.
The first one is called kitten fishing. Do you know what that is? I know, I didn't either. So it's like catfishing, but while catfishing is more about wholly misrepresenting yourself, kitten fishing is a little less serious. Think of it as stretching the truth a little bit, but not egregiously.
So like just lying?
Yeah, little white lies, like, oh, you're a, say you're a customer service rep and you say, oh yeah, I'm in charge of a lot of people. Well, you're only in charge when the manager's not there or you're the only one working. Those kind of little tiny lies. The next one, really important, breadcrumbing. Do you know what breadcrumbing is?
I know what that is in a narcissistic term. Oh, okay.
They keep throwing little bits out there to keep the other person thinking they might have a shot at a date or a relationship, which is very narcissistic.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's, I need to hold you, I need to keep you on the line, because if this other one that I really want doesn't work out, at least I've got a backup plan for Saturday night.
Yes.
Don't accept breadcrumbs, ladies. Take the whole loaf or nothing.
Yes.
Cushioning.
No idea.
This is when you're in a relationship, but you're not sure if it's going to last. So you start chatting with other people and stringing them along. That way, if you break up with your partner, you'll have other options to cushion your fall.
Ooh, cushion. Okay. Got it. See, that's what I was scared of. That's why I wanted to meet up pretty quickly, because I think what happened when I started telling that story, I'm like, well, I wonder why I did that, because that is kind of weird. But as I was thinking while you were talking, I think it's because there was one guy that I was really interested in. And he literally, I spent, I don't know, a long time, an obscene amount of time. Maybe it was a week, maybe it was 2 weeks, maybe it was a month. I don't even know. Talking to this guy. And he came up with every excuse as to why he didn't want to meet in person. Finally, I told my best friend, I was like, dude, there's this guy. Oh my God. So nice, so sweet, so handsome. He won't go out. She's like, he's married. Or he's in a, it didn't even occur to me, because I'm so like naive and so good. And like, I would never. So I was like, oh my, you're right. Yes. It's just, he's on there just seeking out attention because he's just bored or something. So
great example of seeing the potential and not seeing the reality.
Yeah.
You know, you got lost in the fantasy of what it would be like to date this guy without seeing he never wants to meet up. That's fishy. That's weird. That's something odd. And later on in the relationship, he's going to do that to me. He's not going to show up. Good one. That's really good. And it wasn't weird. I'm going to say this. We all have different ways of doing things. My way is not the one size fits all. I love that you did it the way you did, because you had a shoot your shot mentality. You're like, hey, if I like this guy, I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to waste any time. And I want to know now. I just want to go for it, and we'll see what happens. And I was like, I'm exhausted. I don't have the energy. I value every minute I have away from my kids. So I'm going to have to do this. And it worked for both of us. It worked for both of us doing it. What's interesting is that you said with Dane, you went somewhere different. And so isn't that the definition of non-insanity is not doing the same thing and getting different results.
Yes.
So funny how that worked out.
Yes.
This one I really like. And I think women do this a lot. They let men sort of non-committally hang on, and you don't know where it's going. You didn't clarify at the beginning, what do we both expect out of this, with a timeline? Like, do you want to be married in a year? Do you think it's okay to be engaged for 9 years? So I call it 3 and out. After 3 months of dating, which is about time for the honeymoon period to wear off and people's true colors to start shining through, people usually decide whether to continue or to break up. I have always said, give it 90 days. 90 days has been the marker for every relationship that I've had. For some reason, at that 90-day mark, it was like, whoa, something happened. And you're like, woof, didn't see that in the last 90 days. 90-day marker, guys. Gals, I'm telling you right now, do a little experiment. Date a guy for 90 days and see at that 90-day mark if you want to continue. Vampiring. This is interesting, vampiring. Going out with someone, usually in the same field of work, to see if you can suck contacts or job prospects from them. This is also known as a milk date, where you're milking the person for recommendations, advice, or connections. It's considered an easy and unethical way of trying to get your foot in the door in a chosen industry.
I've actually heard of that. Wow. But I didn't know that's what it was called. But I have actually totally heard of that. Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I really view it that way, though.
I do, because I think you need to separate work and personal.
I totally get it.
Yeah, if you're combining it and all you're trying to do is try to get something from someone, you're being disrespectful to them as a person. You know, you're not being transparent about what you want. Be transparent. If you want to if you want to contact for their work, say, hey, can we get together and have coffee? I would love some contacts or some references from you. Be upfront. Be honest. Why do we beat around the bush when we got to come up with vampiring and milking? Ghosting. We all know what ghosting is. Yeah. Right?
I've done some ghosting in my life.
I think we all have. No, I know we all have. Like, I just don't have the energy to confront why I don't want to go out with you again. I would say for the most part, I gained most of my confidence by being able to not ghost. And I'm going to give you guys advice in dating. I would, if I were at a date and I knew I was not going to see this person again, rather than faking it through the day and being like, yeah, I'll take your number. I'll contact you later. And then ghosting. I felt it was much better. And it was hard at times because some guys were like, what do you mean? We can't. Well, I want to see you. I would say, you know what? I think you're a great person. I don't think we're a good fit. No one can argue with that. You can't tell me you're a good fit for me if I say you're not a good fit for me. Yeah. So it wasn't like I was insulting you, and I also wasn't stringing you along, and I also wasn't going to ghost you. And I felt integrity was important when I was dating, to be respectful to someone. I don't want to leave someone hanging. And I also would say I would rather you go out and seek someone that you have a potential with, because for us, this just isn't something that feels right for me. And it was, I can tell you this, they appreciated it more than they were angry or disappointed. They were, again, you're a breath of fresh air. Thank you for your transparency and your honesty. And I had a really good time with you, and I'd love to remain friends. And I'm like, cool, let's be friends.
Yes.
This is interesting. This one, orbiting. I know we're almost at our time. Oh my God, it flew 3 minutes. I'll wrap this up. Okay. Orbiting. This is a new terrible trend in dating. In orbiting, a person will ghost you, but continue to stalk your social media. You wouldn't know this is happening with Facebook or Twitter, but Instagram stories and Snapchat tell you which users have watched your content, which is weird. Orbiting. Like, if you don't want to be involved, why are you watching me? And I know that applies to friendships too, like ex-friends. Okay, I got a couple more, and then I'll try not to make you go over. Fire dooring. This is cool. Fire dooring. This is when one person has all the power in an exchange. Someone who will text you but fail to respond when you text back. Someone who will never make plans to see you but expect you to drop everything and come over when they happen to have an afternoon free. As the name implies, this is not a two-way street. It's a fire door, which is a one-way exit. You can get out, but you can't get back in.
Wow. I love that.
Sounds like an opening to a narcissistic relationship, yes. Don't it? Yes. Don't do it. Run as fast as you can. Situationship. Circling back to the fact that everyone these days is wildly commitment phobic, a situationship is a sexual relationship that stops short of being a committed relationship. You're together, but you're not together. You're in a situation. So your booty calls, your friends with benefits, pretty much situationship. Stashing. You're dating someone, you don't feel like it's going well, but you notice they don't feature you in any of their social media.
Yes.
They detag themselves from posts you put up. This is the modern version of getting weird when you ask to meet your partner's parents. The person you're...
And I don't understand it at all.
Right?
Yeah, I could see for some time, like I think I waited 6 months maybe before I started tagging or linking Dane and I together on social media. So I think there is, because you don't also, because that 90-day mark, you also don't want to be like 90 days, different man, 90 days, different man. And so like, I'm not down with that.
You don't want to be the cray woman who changes her Facebook status every time you get a good date. I get it.
Yes. But yeah, I've actually know people who do that, who long term, like over a year or two, and super, and it's weird and it's not questioned.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was dating, and it's really interesting how you said you get, or how we were talking about you get what you need, not what you want. My husband's not on social media. Well, I can't say that. He's addicted to TikTok. And he is on Twitter, him and his 3 friends, I think he's got. And I remember, I mean, I'm all over social media, right? And I remember thinking how weird that was. And I was a little disappointed because I'm like, oh, I want to share stuff with you. But I tell you, it has been the absolute best thing. We have like our separate worlds, and I'll show him stuff. I'll say, look what I posted today. Look what Sabrina did. And I remember dating people in the past who were mad at the number of texts I would or would not send during the day and what I would not post about them.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign of insecurity.
Yeah.
If they need validation of your relationship on a social media platform, we have a problem, Houston. We need to figure out what he's not getting, and whether he's not getting it himself or his love language is not being met. That's a really good sign.
Yeah. I actually like that you're saying that, because that is an issue that I internally deal with, as far as like marking days, anniversaries, birthdays, and doing this whole thing. Not to say that it's good or bad, but there's this necessity to do it. And is it necessary? I really have a hard time with that. And we've had conversations about it, just as far as like, ooh, why didn't you? Or should we? And it's like, it's not real. Like, it's real, but it's not real, and it doesn't define our happiness. And I think it's very important to really distinguish, are you doing it because you're feeling obligated to do it? Or are you like, what is the feeling behind the action?
That's it. You just mic dropped it. Whenever you're in a relationship, whether you're dating or you're in long term or even marriage, when you start feeling obligated to do something, it makes it disingenuous. Because what is unconditional love? Unconditional love is me doing something to put your happiness first, and doing something with authentic love for you. When someone is asking me to do something, and I don't know about you, Sabrina, but I am one of these people, you tell me to do something, I'm doing the absolute opposite. I hate being told what to do. Ask my mother. She knows since birth. I mean, we've talked about how she said I had a temper after 2 weeks as a newborn. I don't like to be told to do something. That's the beauty of knowing a healthy versus unhealthy relationship is with my husband. I don't have to beg him to do stuff for me. I don't have to beg him to meet my love language. I don't have to say, you never bring me presents. My love language is gifts, receiving gifts. Why don't you ever bring me this? I mean, he'll bring me every day he goes grocery shopping. He's like, I brought you a surprise. It's like a box of ding dongs. I love it. But I don't have to tell him, bring me a box of ding dongs.
Yeah.
You're right. If we are content in our relationship, then we don't need to showcase it to anybody.
Yeah.
And if they like that, if that's his love language, and he says, I really like it when you shout out our relationship, or I really like, when the world sees how much we love each other, that's different than saying, why don't you post on our birthday or anniversary, and are you hiding me? That's an insecure thing versus I need this need met. This would be important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that is important, when you're in your relationship, to kind of, and that's a conversation that has to be had now. That didn't have to be a thing. And it's an important one. And I think that it can change every year. I don't think that it's something that's continuous. I think it's a continuous conversation that has to be updated and tweaked and redone. Like, do we have to tag each other in every single post, or do we not ever tag each other? Like, how does that work? How does that feel now, today, tomorrow, next year or 10 years in or whatever it is. Because it does, it continues to evolve.
Yes. And it does. Your needs change.
Yeah.
In your relationship, your needs change as you're dating. You start figuring out, I need these different things. I'm going to give one important piece of information before we get off, because we could be doing this for 6 hours.
I know.
Serious. The most important piece of dating advice I could give to everyone out there is, do not be afraid at your first date of feeling like it's I get this a lot, I don't want them to feel like I'm doing a job interview. Well, you are. You are doing a job interview. You're interviewing for your heart, okay? If you go to a job interview, what are you trying to find out? If that employee is worth the money you're going to pay them, and if they're a good fit for your company. So in dating, please do an interview. The most important questions, I'm going to give you 3 very important questions. Okay. The first question is, how do you feel about your ex? How do you feel about your family? And what is the one thing about yourself that you would change? Those 3 questions.
Good one.
Number 1,
I don't know what I would say to that third one.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Those are deep questions. Don't ask, what do you do for work? What color is your car? And blah, blah, blah. You're going to get, first of all, and I figured this out because of one of my exes. When we talked about his ex on the first date, all he did was talk about everything she did wrong. And he was a huge egomaniac narcissist. I should have keyed in right there, but I didn't. I put the red flag in my purse, gals. I put it in my purse. Number 2, when they talk about their family, and this person comes to mind, the same gentleman, he's not a gentleman, the same dude. He talked about how he stopped talking to his nephew for a year, or he stopped talking to his mother for a year because of something she said. That's a really good indication that you can drop your family, or you can drop people immediately because they did something to you. That's a really good gaslighting, blaming mentality. So if they say, I love my family, I am estranged, and I've tried to make this relationship work, and I would really love to fix this relationship with him, and I'm doing everything I can, and I really hope one day it'll be better. That's different, as opposed to, and with the ex, when they tell you their ex did all these things to them, their ex was horrible, their ex blah, 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 instead of saying, you know what, we both made a lot of mistakes, and I should have blah, 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 and she, realized blah, blah, blah. I learned that from my husband. The way he talked about his ex and the relationship he has with his ex-wife is beautiful. Him and I, and this is a cool little side note, my husband and I, and his ex-wife is a lesbian. She discovered that, that really was her true identity. And she's got a wife. She's been with her for 20 years. We all stayed in a cabin together with his son last year, the 4 of us, and just had a blast. We went to his, not the cabin, the 3 of us stayed in the cabin. Her wife wasn't there, but his son's college graduation, we all got an Airbnb and stayed together. That's healthy, right? That's what you want to look for with the exes. And then the one thing that you want to change about yourself, when they say, if they say finances or they say jobs, that's not what you're looking for. You want to see them do some self-awareness and some deep discovery of something soul-wise that they want to change.
I love that. Fantastic. Yay. So your website is right above your head area, lifecoachmaureen.com. Where can people find you on social media? Where are you most present?
I am most present on Facebook, Facebook at Maureen Nelson Scanlon, as well as Life Coach Maureen on Facebook. I am on Instagram and Twitter at Scanlon Life on Twitter. Can't remember my Insta. Oh, it's maureen.scanlon.lifecoach. Thank you. And I do have a mindfulness and positivity group on Facebook that every day you can have some type of inspiration and positive thing on social media if you need it, so it's not all negative.
Yeah.
And then don't forget to go get the book. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere you find books. My website has a link to buy the book too.
I love it. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you being here. That was so much fun. I could have talked to you for like another 2 hours.
I know. And almost did.
Yes, if you resonated with Maureen and all the goodness she shared, make sure you check out her website / social media. We love to connect people here on this platform in order to continue to rise. Thank you so much for everyone who is listening live and hanging out with us right here, right now. Anyone listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you were here and we can send you some love. This community is expanding every single day and it's filled with people who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that encourages people to share their truth and inspire others. As